Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new year and another edition of the Elite City Podcast. How was everybody's holiday?
We missed everyone, and I'm assuming you've missed us very, very badly.
Yeah, I've got some messages. People asking where we were, and I was like, well we didn't really announce anything.
The holidays and sicknesses and whatnot, it just got a bit crazy as it does.
Yeah. But we're back now.
Back.
Of course, and in his not connected to modern society, Tony Khan goes, you know what? Great time to have a pay-per-view. Being between Christmas and New Year's. That's what everyone just
every year.
Has a lot of time to kill during that. That's not busy at all.
Every year he does it, and it sucks. At least I didn't have to buy the Ring of Honor one this year. At least that was included with my Ring of Honor subscription, which last year I had to buy.
God, I forgot that one happened too.
You could tell Tony Khan is a person who just like has no concept of what a regular person's life is like, because he's like, oh, we're gonna have Dynamite on Christmas Day. That'll be fine. That's what everyone's gonna be doing.
Yeah.
Well, Blasco did, so I mean, to be fair,
100% I did.
He's for the sickos.
Dynamite was on Max. How is Max, Blasco?
It was good. I do have a few not complaints, just differences. I like the starting screen. I think it's the funniest thing in the world, and it even plays like a little like background noise jingle. I think it's hilarious. There's no need for it, but I love it. I miss the picture-in-picture. That was like the biggest. Like watching full screen commercials was like it I don't want to say it took me out of it because it was different, but I hope they either add picture-in-picture or I don't know what to do with my time. I'm so used to having the constant flow.
I've read a lot of discontent on the internet about that, which I don't blame them. If you're paying for a service,
if you have the ad-free version of Max to then get ads,
But see, this is where I also not disagree with that. Like I see everybody saying that, but they have to get revenue somehow. Like even the live sports have commercials on Max. Yeah. So
I have heard that the NBA sometimes does picture-in-picture, but they don't on Max. So that might be just a Max thing.
And if that is a thing, that's totally fine. I just don't want to fall into the habit of like, I purposely shut my phone off because I was like, oh, I know exactly what I'll do. They'll go to commercial and I'll start fiddling on Blue Sky or pull a game up or something. And wrestling's been on for 10 minutes. I didn't realize and I know that's the world that we live in, and you can't sit still for 3 minutes, but that's my only big
it is unfortunate you don't get the same feed they have on Triller, which has like this the talking during the commentary during commercials. That's really
people doing Max. We're really hoping for that, and it's fair because there's some funny stuff that happens on there.
It was
the greatest stuff that happened in this year was when Tony Storm was on commentary. Once they went to commercial, she realized she could say whatever she wanted, and it was incredible.
But before we get too far, Dax Harwood posted on his Instagram, which big ups to Tony Khan for this. Apparently Fight for the Fallen was supposed to be in a bigger city, and Dax and Cash went to Tony and was like, hey, why don't we try to do something for was it Asheville, North Carolina? Asheville. At Fight for the Fallen. And he was like, why don't we just have it there? So they didn't say where, but apparently it was already supposed to be at like I don't want to say nicer venue, a bigger venue. There you go. Yeah. In a bigger place, and they scrapped it to have it in that town, which I thought was really cool.
That's cool. Yeah. Dax Harwood is like super annoying on the internet, but this was cool of him to do.
For sure. Yeah.
Before we get too far into it, what did you think of the new opening for Dynamite?
I thought they played the wrong song. It doesn't fit. And it was edited so bad.
I don't mind the song. Like, I don't mind this. It's not a great song, but I don't mind it. But you're right. It doesn't fit the video.
Yeah, they need to re-edit. Like, the old video hit the old song beats. So, like, it was, it messed with my...
And did you notice they added a bunch of celebrities to it?
I saw Big Justice on it, and it made me laugh.
Shaq was in it, and Snoop Dogg was in it. Mike Tyson was in it.
Really? I missed all that.
Yeah.
Also, everybody who's ever been on
Yeah, any celebrity who's ever been on it. I get why they did it, because if you're watching Max, you're like, oh, I don't know any
Exactly.
wrestlers. Oh, no, I get it. But yeah, the song did not match. I don't mind the song. Like, the song's not incredible, but it's fine. Like, it's fine.
If they
but
re-edit it.
If it has to, they have to do something to make it match the video, because the video, you're right, it 100% fits the old theme.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, it does seem like they pushed the wrong button.
Like, literally, I was like, man, this just started amazingly. And then I was like, the new song's going to kick in. And I was like, nope. It was like they consulted me on that. They're like, hey, we forgot to do something, Blasco. What do you do? I was like, just half-ass it. No one will notice.
Yeah, put the old video on. It'll be fine.
Yeah, just no one will notice. That's, yeah.
It does feel like maybe the getting the rights to that So Excited song was a last minute thing, and they didn't have a video for it. Maybe they'll fix it. I hope they will.
And apparently they got Elton John back for Collision.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I saw a theory that said it's because if they show old Collision and they had it, they'd have to pay anyway. So why not just pay for it going
Pretty
forward?
sure that was my theory that I sent to you.
Might have been. I don't know. I read a lot of Reddit, so.
That's what I assumed, is because if they're going to show the old Collision ones on HBO.
But I mean,
it's
not hard to just go through those old ones and put the whatever they were using on top of it. So.
Yeah, but Tony doesn't like going back and changing music, though. He tends to buy licenses that he can use forever.
That is true.
I appreciate that about him.
I do like that.
Man, they're going to be screwed whenever Danielson retires. He's already paid like $8 billion for the final countdown.
And they just got to keep airing it. Yeah.
Anyways, well, we had the World's End pay-per-view. Yeah, that's what I was just getting to. We had the World's End pay-per-view. We're going to start at the end and go backwards, just because that's the way I wrote the outline. So I apologize.
And technically, if you watch it that way, it's a much better show.
Oh.
Yeah, actually.
It would be.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good. I'm not knocking the show, but if you watched it backwards, it would be a better show.
This is I think they learned a lesson here. I think next year, World's End, if they do the C2 at the same time, that's your main event.
Yeah, the C2 should end the show.
Yeah, if they put on bangers like that, hell yeah. And
again, not that
if that ended with Ospreay versus Okada, and then Kenny Omega coming out.
Exactly.
That would have been
like an all-time ending.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Again, like you said, not that the ending was bad. It was just that you gave everybody all that and then expected them to.
It was a huge letdown.
Honestly, I don't know if it was a letdown. I think everybody was just like, even myself was like, oh man, if that would have just happened earlier, like everything else was so much better.
It was a letdown. I think the problem with Mox, I mean, there's a lot of problems with this angle. I don't love this angle. I'm kind of dull. I'm bored with it. But I've realized a lot of the stuff with the way Mox ends matches, I get why he does it, because he wants to end them suddenly. Like, out of nowhere, the match could end. I get it.
True.
Like, but it feels really anticlimactic. Like, the crowd's cheering, stuff is happening, and then boom, match is over.
And like that works sometimes, but I feel like it's been happening. I don't know. It's
been happening a lot.
Yeah, and it's just I'm bored with it too. I'm like, all right, it seems so exciting when this storyline started happening.
Yeah.
And it just has not delivered, and then now it's drawing on. It's like, all right, let's get to the point, guys, because this is getting boring.
It feels very NWO to me, and not the beats of not the actual like plot of the storyline. It feels NWO in the sense that, like, yeah, when it started, it was super exciting and cool. Where is this going to go? And very quickly, it got confusing and kind of annoying. And like the rest of the show is super good, and the main event, you're just like, ugh, I don't understand this. I don't really care. Like, I don't know.
Now, did you watch the post-match promo, which explained everything in the past 2.5 months so much better in 3 sentences?
No, but they should have put that on TV if that's what
150,000%. I actually wrote it down because I didn't see that. I saw this on an Instagram clip, and then I had to go on their YouTube to actually find it. Like, they didn't even promote it. Like, someone that I follow promoted it.
All right. Yeah.
Well, Mox, like, it was after the match, and it's like they're all backstage, and Mox is explaining why he doesn't feel the people deserve the championship because he.
Oh, didn't they show that? They showed that somewhere. I saw that.
Oh, like when how he carried the company through COVID.
Yeah, they showed that on Dynamite.
Okay. and when that promo was awesome. Like, it's because like he had to carry it through COVID. He canceled his vacation to clean up after the Punk situation. If this whole storyline would have started with them just saying those two lines, he doesn't even have to say Punk, because he didn't say Punk. He just said, when we didn't have a world champion, I stepped up once again. Like, if he would have just said those two things, they'd be like, oh, okay, that makes so much sense. He's like the workhorse.
Their problem is, and I kind of appreciate it, AEW doesn't want to beat you over the head with stuff, so they don't want to like explain it to you explicitly. I kind of appreciate.
But they haven't found the good middle ground for that yet.
Right. They don't hint at it enough. They need to be hinting at things more than they are. Like Copeland hinted at it too. That I forget what his exact line was, but something around
I think
you're a coward or something like that. Cope. Yes.
You mean Cope?
Yes, I forgot the dumbest possible choice for a name.
Did you hear? He's now Cope.
I love that on the day that they made a specific point to tell you his name is Cope, the crowd was just chanting "Let's go Adam" the entire show. It was
pretty amazing.
I loved it because it's a dumb, stupid name. It's a fine nickname. If his name is Adam Copeland and they want to call him Cope for short, sometimes that's fine. But the rated R superstar Cope is terrible. It's a terrible name.
It's like you just forgot the rest of it and quit talking. The rated R superstar Cope.
It's a terrible name.
Copeland. It is very dumb.
If they wanted to just call him Copeland, fine. But Cope is terrible. It's a dumb name.
What's up, Cope?
But anyway, when he was talking, I forget when it was. I think it was on Dynamite, like a promo on Dynamite. He said something about how Mox is just a coward and he's gonna like expose him for who he is.
Or something.
A child, yeah. I like that. I think if they were gonna go along the lines of Mox is acting all tough and gritty and like he needs everyone to be super violent because he's actually really insecure and this is his only way of holding the title, that would be cool. But I don't know if that's what they're doing.
Right. Well, that's when he, came running out at World's End, was like, "You're just a kid" and stuff. I'm like, okay, that's an angle, or nobody said that to Mox in the 5 years of this company. So I'm like, okay, that's a little bit new and piqued my interest, but not like, all right.
You were right though that Mox he's too hard. He's too serious. He's too hard. Right. He's too gritty. He doesn't need to 100% be gritty, violent, angry at all times.
It's just it's getting old.
It's getting very old.
It's getting very old. And I love Mox. He's one of my favorites. Mox.
I do, but it's getting old. And I understand what they're doing, putting the title in the briefcase, kind of, a little, maybe, I don't know. But it does make it feel like it doesn't exist. To me, like the AEW title has a pretty good lineage. It has like a pretty respected lineage. A lot of great people have held the belt. It does mean they've made it mean something very quickly. In like 5 years, the title means something. And right now, it kind of seems like it's not there. Like it just doesn't exist.
Yeah,
and it's weird. I don't know. Everyone else around Mox, everyone feuding with Mox, trying to get the belt from him, is more interesting than him.
And that's. I think you guys, and maybe hopefully listeners know, I'm a fairly patient person with storylines. And I'm going to obviously see where this goes, but I feel like they could have sped this up in some places because it's been dragging.
Especially because they did the thing with the EVPs that also was dragging and never really had an ending and kind of just was like confused. It started off cool and then kind of just got into a muddled mess. Like they started, then they followed that up with another storyline that started cool and quickly turned into a muddled mess. Like doing them back to back makes it seem worse to me.
It seems like AEW almost just like they get the criticism of, can't tell stories. So then they tell stories, but they don't know how to tell the stories in a, a proper, like they drag it out too
they do drag things out too long.
Yeah, it's like
they have done it successfully. I mean, they had Adam Page and Swerve. They had Tony and Mariah. Like those were perfectly good, great storylines. But I don't know why they can't do it with this.
Right. I wonder.
Maybe Tony Khan doesn't like to rebook things. Maybe he was waiting for someone to come back. Like maybe he was waiting for Cope to return, and so he had to drag it out longer.
It's so because in some storylines they do it well, and then other ones they drag it out too long. It's like I wonder who. I think RJ City is the guy behind the ones that aren't dragged out too
Yeah, I
long.
think RJ City should be like, if he's not already very high up in the hierarchy of AEW,
Yeah.
he should be, because if
Listen,
he's writing that, if he wrote the Mariah
the
May,
Tony
Tony Storm
Storm,
stuff,
yeah.
yeah.
He should be freaking he's amazing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I
absolutely.
do feel like part of the problem could be though is and it's a good thing. It's not a problem, but it's a problem in this instance. Is AEW gives the talent free reign to kind of book their own stuff, and maybe Mox just doesn't know how to end a storyline. Like, it's entirely possible.
Yeah, I mean, bless him, he's good at stories, but I also feel like I could see him like almost. You know what it reminds me of? Actually, I just thought it reminds me of Dragon Ball Z. How
I've never seen that.
Never watched it.
Okay, well, maybe some of the
giant
nerds.
nerd, you Biddy, you giant nerd.
Well, the thing is, I didn't like Dragon Ball Z for a long time until an ex showed me. I think it was called Dragon Ball Kai or something. Basically, all that I'm charging up, I'm going to 9,000. Blah. They cut out a lot of that and just got to the story, and then I was like, oh, I like this a lot more now. They cut out all the let's go beat up people stuff and got to the point.
Mox does seem like his promos seem like he just thinks of cool stuff to say and then tries to fit it into a promo because it sounds cool when it doesn't actually service moving the story forward at all.
They go beat up people, blah blah blah. I mean, it's oh my god, it just dawned on me. It reminds me of Dragon Ball Z. It's the same thing. And I think if they just got to the goddamn point, sorry. But if they
I'm not saying I don't want a long story. I want a long story that does something. This hasn't done anything. Like, we're at the exact same spot we were 3 months ago.
But it hasn't done anything yet.
Yes. Yet, but there's just a lot of lull. There's a lot of filler lull that we don't need. I mean, I guess to fill out what was it, 6 hours of TV beforehand, but now we're out an hour, so let's get on with it.
What I do like about this is everyone's going for the world title, which I like, because that should be what happens in a wrestling company. Everyone should want the world title. I like that.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, now with it going in this direction, like, that's the story. Like, now Mox is like irrelevant.
I think Mox needs to lose it though, because he is kind of
absolutely.
I think he needs, if their plan was to have him lose it like at All In, that's too long. He should lose it at Revolution.
Right.
Is that next?
And then have Hangman or Jay White or MJF, like, have them feud over the belt, and Mox can do something else.
Is Revolution next? Is that the one in March?
Yeah, it's weird because there was supposed to be Grand Slam Australia, which they initially kind of positioned as a pay-per-view.
That's at the end of February.
Yeah, but now it's not a pay-per-view anymore.
Oh.
Now they're pitching Revolution as the next pay-per-view.
They had to drop out of a bigger venue.
Yeah. Someone asked Tony Khan about it, and he said, "Oh, because of the time zone difference, the middle of the night here when it's airing in Australia." He goes, "It's hard to make it a pay-per-view, so they're going to make it like all he said was people will be able to see it easily. So I'm assuming it might be like a special on Max or something."
Because that's what I was going to say. Like, I mean, did they officially say it was going to be a pay-per-view? Because I always thought that was weird.
I don't think they ever did. No, I don't think they did.
Just because
it was going to be initially was going to be in like a huge stadium. Right. It seemed like it was going to be, but I think it's not going to be.
I don't think they ever did say that. I think they were playing it by ear a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
apparently Australia has a hell of a wrestling community and stuff, so I'm super pumped for them. Yeah,
we're getting a weird place though. Brisbane is a weird place to have a wrestling. It's like not. Yeah. It's not Melbourne. It's not Sydney. It's not like a major. Yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little weird to have it there, but isn't
that where Fletcher's from though?
Is he? I don't know.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I know he's from Australia.
Speaking of everyone going for the world title, though, there were two promos this week to add to this world title, everyone wanting the world title. One of them was MJF, who has been very boring to me for the last few months. But his promo on Dynamite, I don't know if you saw it, Biddy, but it was really good.
I didn't. I heard it was great, but I have not seen it yet.
What I really enjoyed about it is he said, I lost the title, but I was screwed out of it. and I never got my rematch. And basically, I don't care who's holding it. I don't care why you're holding it. I don't care about the state of AEW. I just want it back.
Right.
And that's what you need. That's what Mox
That's
needs.
what you
is like
need.
a
That's what
personal feud
yeah.
where someone just wants the belt back or just wants to hurt Mox or something. That doesn't need to be part of like an overarching. There needs to be like a personal story here, and that's a personal story that people can care about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was such a good promo too, because it was like, I know I'm guilty of this. Just a few weeks ago, I was like, oh, MJF always is the same thing. But I was like,
I mean, he was. Yeah.
Well, this
Yeah.
was even classic MJF though. Like, it was like, it started cool, calm, and collected, and ended with him screaming. But as you said, like, it was something that I cared about. Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that made sense. Oh, yeah, that did happen. It was, again, not that his promos are bad. His promos are all pretty good, but they're all basically the same. This was the same, but with reason, was awesome.
What he's been missing since he came back, and what he's very good at, is making his stories personal and making you care about the people involved in it. And he did that with the feud with Punk. He did that with the feud with Cody a long time ago. And he did that with initially everyone craps on the Adam Cole thing because it ended weirdly. But like at the beginning, MJF Adam Cole stuff was really good. And
yeah, the ankle killed it.
The ankle injury killed it.
Yeah.
And he made you care about it though. For the first like couple months of that,
absolutely.
like you cared. Like he makes you care personally about stuff, and that's his biggest strength. Not that he like makes fun of your sports team or calls you ugly. Like he can make you care about stuff.
Speaking of calling people ugly, was that not a throwback when Copeland told Big Bill he had a stupid face? Did Vince McMahon not tell Christian that?
Yeah.
Is that real?
I think he did. Yeah.
That's amazing.
But see what I saw is people were saying that Cope and Big Bill look alike. Is that a thing? I think they look kind of alike, but
you know,
if
I saw people online saying
20 years off of.
I saw people online saying the joke was that Cope was like, "Oh, you have a stupid face, but he looks just like him, so therefore he has a I don't know."
That makes sense too.
I mean, no offense to Adam Copeland, but I can't.
Cope.
Excuse me. I can't imagine looking at Cope and Christian next to each other and saying Christian's the one that has a stupid face. Like, are you?
No, I agree.
Like, well, you know what? That was Vince McMahon, and
he's a crazy person.
Yes,
100%.
and I'm a female, and so maybe that makes a difference. But no, I'd have to say I think Adam Copeland has kind of the weirder face.
But while we're talking about this, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, being from Pittsburgh, I cannot call anybody Cope that's not Myron Cope. So it's just never. It's never gonna. That's the only Cope.
Do you think they'll go back on it? Do you think they'll realize in like a week or two that people think it's stupid and it's not working, and they'll just change their minds?
It's weird because like I was following along. Like I didn't watch it, but I was in bed and following along on the Reddit live thing, and everyone on Reddit just started immediately going Cope, 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 and I'm like, what the hell? And then I saw like the AEW Instagram or Facebook, and Cope, Cope, Cope. I'm like, what happened?
I'm hoping they realize like in a week or two that people are just think it's dumb and that it's not working and that they go back on it because it's dumb. They should go back on it. But one thing I wanted to get to before we get off the topic of the world title, people who say they want the world title now that list now includes Jeff Jarrett.
Yes,
bless his heart.
I like that. I like Jeff Jarrett. He's great. No, I'm sorry. I love him.
Who would have thought when he debuted we would like Jeff Jarrett now? Like everyone's like, what the hell?
I know, but he's been great.
And now look at him.
When he came out, it seemed like he was going to retire.
I
didn't want him to. I was just like, no, I don't want him. I want him to stay. Like,
I knew he wasn't going to, but like,
yeah.
But yeah.
But my first thought was, I hope he's not because I like him. He's doing a good job. He's a smart guy and he knows wrestling, obviously, and he knows he did Memphis, where Memphis's whole thing was like personal feuds, personal issues. He knows that there's money in him somehow earning a title shot and then Mox just beating the hell out of him.
Right.
Yes.
And that's going to happen. He's going to get a title shot somehow. He's going to win something and get a title shot, and Mox is going to destroy him, and it's going to work. Like, it's going to get sympathy on him. It's going to make people hate Mox. He's smart enough to know that.
How sick would it be, seriously, if he wins the casino gauntlet next week? Jared,
That'd be awesome.
that would be amazing.
Yo, man, he's like what, 55 years old? He still can go though. Like,
And he looks good. He's like, he can wrestle, he can talk. I like him.
Yeah.
That's crazy. He's only 10 years older than me.
Oh,
Like-
you're so old. Ew.
He's been wrestling for like 40 years though.
Well,
He's been
that's
since
what I was
he
just gonna
a
say. Like,
teenager. Yeah.
I remember him when I was like in 5th grade. Like,
I
dude had to be
was
like
gonna
19.
Yeah.
He was like 2 and they threw him in a wrestling ring. I mean,
He
to be fair.
came to WWE, I think, in like 1994 or something like that. And he'd been wrestling for a long time before that.
But any final thoughts on the world title?
I hope, I hope somebody else wins it soon. Not
Yeah.
even that Mox is doing a bad job. I hope somebody else wins it soon.
It's
and then
time.
it's time. And then I hope that Eddie Kingston comes back and we get a Mox
Yes.
Eddie Kingston feud, because that would rule.
Yeah, but I have a feeling Eddie's going to end up in Ring of Honor and feud with Homicide now that Homicide's back, and the world's going to explode.
Ring of Honor, I'm sure that makes sense, but we've never got a real Mox Eddie feud. We've got like interactions.
True.
And I want it.
We
because
had
it would be
Renee
good.
like yelling at them both to figure it out. I mean, like,
it would be
Well,
good.
that's-
I want an actual feud
Oh,
where they
it'd
like
be
cut
awesome.
promos on each other and fight each. Like, I want that, because
yeah.
Eddie Kingston is another guy who makes you care about everything. Like, he
Well,
could do a
and
great job making you care.
Eddie seems to bring out the best in Mox too.
For sure.
True.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like,
Very true.
I wonder if maybe some of the prolonging this so long where it's getting boring is trying to wait for Eddie. It's like,
I mean,
all right,
it could be. Yeah.
but like, okay, I don't know how far away Eddie is from being able to actually be in the ring, but it's like Eddie can talk better than most anyone. Like, even though he's still not cleared, he could still come and
Yeah.
cut promos and stuff. So I'm like,
Tony Khan does wait too long for stuff. That could entirely be it. I don't know, but
I don't know.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, I
Uh,
guess you just gotta keep watching, eh?
100,000%.
we're gonna talk about the Hurt Syndicate.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's my favorite thing on television.
I like
Is
them. They're cool.
Oh, they're so good. They're going to rule 2025. And this is, I have a theory, and I'm just going to jump right into it. We saw the turn of Ricochet at the end of Dynamite when he
good.
it was so good when he attacked
Perfect.
Swerve. Okay, he used scissors. Okay, like, okay, well, the whole Acclaimed thing. I have a feeling Ricochet and Bowens are going to join the Hurt Syndicate.
I could see that.
Just because, like, before their match, Max was like, dude, I'm not doing the scissoring thing anymore. That's dumb. I'm over that. Blah, 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 blah. And then Ricochet shows up with a pair of scissors. And I just thought of all weapons. Why,
The other theory I heard is people made fun of Ricochet for being bald. So that's why he has scissors.
Wouldn't you bring a razor then?
My problem with breaking up the Acclaimed, and like they're gonna break up the Acclaimed, and they should, because they got dull.
It's time.
My only concern is I can't see either of them being very successful on their own, and that's not a knock on them. That's just AEW has so many people that like where do you put like Max Caster?
I could see Bowens doing okay, but I can't see Max at all.
Max would
Max,
be
I
a
feel like
perfect TV
Max
champion
would have
in
to-
Ring of Honor.
He'd have to join. Yeah, he'd have to go to Ring of Honor, or he'd have to join a stable where he's like. But then if he joined a stable, he'd be like the Wheeler Yuta of the stable, where like, oh, his job is to get beat up.
Right. I could see Bowens. I can see Bowens.
Yeah,
It is the problem. I think AEW has a lot of people, and it's hard to push Bowens when like then who do you not
Right.
push, right? Like it's hard.
out of the Hurt Syndicate, who goes after what title?
I kind of think that they were hinting at them going after the tag titles because they talked a couple times about how they're like such a dominant tag team.
That's a great point. I never even thought of
That
that.
makes sense.
And like
That
I
would
know
be
Private
sick.
Party,
Well-
I know Private Party just won the belts, and it was a big moment. But then they haven't really done much since winning them. Like they've had matches, they've had some stuff, but it hasn't been huge.
Well, you have these two older guys just completely break them.
Yeah,
and take them
like-
away. Like,
I know that like people would see it as like you're squashing, you're burying Private Party, but like I don't know. It would be kind of cool to just have Lashley and Benjamin just like destroy them.
I mean,
And that's
they
not-
would.
And I like Private Party. I'm not saying that because I don't like them.
Right. Same.
I just think that would be a cool angle to run.
I don't feel like Private Party was given the titles to be like long title holders at all.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's awesome they won. I'm glad they were originals. They're freaking dope. But yeah, seen Sheldon Benjamin and Bobby Lashley like run roughshod over them and win them. That makes all the sense in the world to me.
I do kind of wish that that's how the Bucks' reign ended, and I liked that that Private Party beat them. Like it was a cool moment. But if Lashley and Benjamin had just destroyed them, that would have been because they're like such cocky assholes. If they just got destroyed, that would have been
brutalized. Yeah.
The rumor on the interwebs is that they were supposed to lose to the Outrunners, and that was supposed to be the Outrunners' first win.
Yeah, I saw
like
that.
the tag match. That would have been incredible.
I also heard it was supposed to be an unnamed other team, which I think might have been the Lucha Bros if they were going to stay. I think that might have happened, but I don't know. But yeah, I think they should go for the tag titles. That'd be fun. And the tag division needs something.
It definitely does. So yeah, that I
also really
hope
hope
way better.
The stupidly named rated FTR. I hope they win the trios titles because what are the trios titles right now? Like they're useless at this point.
Poopy.
So have them win the trios titles.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That's who. That's Wheeler and
Hackett and
Claudio.
And Claudio.
They need to lose them. They need to lose them because they've done nothing with them.
The trios titles titles should just be. They should go from Ring of Honor and AEW. There doesn't need to be two sets of trios champions.
Now, why did they merge them and then unmerge them? That was bizarre.
I didn't know they unmerged them.
They merged them with the Ring of Honor titles, then they unmerged them again.
Yeah, because right now the
I didn't know they unmerged them.
Dustin and them have them, right?
Yeah, Dustin and the Von Erichs.
Yeah. And then Dustin and Sammy have the tag titles.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
They merged them, and then when the Bang Bang Gang had them, didn't they unmerge them again?
Yeah.
That was a mess. That was stupid. They should have merged them. They should go back and forth. We don't need two sets of 6-man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's stupid.
And especially like a title like that, like where Rick, you always say, like, of course, a trio always involves a tag team, but if you had them between both, like it could be a Ring of Honor tag team and an AEW single, like you know what I mean? Then you can keep them separate and put them together when needed. I don't know.
When Copeland, I'm calling him Copeland, I don't care. When he mentioned that we're going to take all the titles from you. We're going to take all the titles from you, including the trios titles. I was like, oh yeah, the trios titles. Those are belts. Like I forgot until he mentioned them. I was like, what? So yeah, he needs to win them.
Yeah. And to be honest, House of Black was probably the only trios champions that were like, they were cool. Like they had their own rule.
And
House of Black
made the titles. They made the titles mean something. Yeah,
exactly.
They were the only ones who really made it mean anything.
Well, I almost okay, Tony's head of creative for both companies, right? Yeah, no.
Yeah, of course he is.
Dude has his fingers in way too many pies.
He does too much. He's doing too many things.
He needs to delegate.
AEW started becoming more confusing and less focused and everything when he bought Ring of Honor. That's what happened. Like that's legitimately what happened. And I mean, he needs to give it. He needs to give it to like, I don't know, Colt Cabana or Christopher Daniels or somebody
to delegate
and have them book it. Somebody have them book it because he can't. This is too many things.
Well, Ring of Honor is Chris Heroes, I believe. That's
let him book it entirely. Like just stay out of it, and he books. Tony Khan should do nothing, have nothing to do with it. Like
I think
just too many things.
I think from what I've understood, I think Tony just okays the Ring of Honor stuff, but I know AEW he's way more involved.
Right.
Yeah.
He needs.
He's at I would say he should leave it completely. I think I've thought for a long time it should be its own thing that just does its own thing. And like, I know that there was a problem with NXT and WWE when Vince McMahon was there, that Triple H would book guys at NXT and then they'd move to WWE and Vince was like, who are these guys? I don't like them. And just like, screw. But like, Vince is an idiot.
You don't have to be that disconnected. I mean,
yeah, it's better now because Shawn Michaels books NXT and Triple H books WWE. And then they speak to one another, but Triple H has nothing to do with NXT other than he talks to him once in a while. Like that's how it should work.
This is not a hard thing. I mean,
no. But I know we sound like we're knocking stuff a lot. What I want to talk about is I want to talk about the C2 because it was amazing and I
let's-
loved it. And it was
that's
great.
next.
And Will
Um,
Ospreay rules, by the way.
Yes, he does.
Unbelievable. Meltzer gave out his. I know it's Meltzer and he's an idiot. Whatever, it's his opinion. Who cares? But he gave out his star ratings for the show, which whatever. He's
Right.
but
Right.
Will Ospreay got his both of his matches got 5 stars. He did 2 5-star matches in one show.
That's incredible.
That's insane. And they were great. Both matches were great.
Well, that's remember he got so much crap for signing with AEW over WWE, but Will Ospreay is freaking ride or die with AEW, man.
Yeah.
He gives every bit he can to it. I
Yeah.
mean,
And why wouldn't you go work for your best friends? I mean,
right.
come on.
But
And I love because when he first showed up, when he first had that feud with Swerve, if he had won the title, no one would complain. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, he's awesome."
right.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the fact that he didn't, and they're building him up, and he's like having setbacks, he's losing to people, he's having to like
Right.
struggle with like that's so good that when he does win it, and he will, it's going to be awesome.
Oh man, I love it. He has just done this all so well. Like he is
the 3 big names that they signed last year were him, Mercedes, and Okada. And Mercedes and Okada has been great. Like they've had great matches.
Ospreay's blown it out of the water.
His catchphrase is on another level. He is on another level. He's incredible.
That is true. He's on another level.
And I mean,
He lives
Kyle
up
Fletcher,
to it.
Kyle Fletcher has become incredible. I love him.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
going back to what I said before, he's born in Sydney. I was wrong. Also born in 1998.
Oh, stop it.
It made me laugh. December 24th.
You put there's someone on this roster that was born in like 2001 and is 24 years old. And
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
I think
Yeah.
Anyway.
Daniel Garcia is like 23. Julia Hart is 23.
Julia Hart,
like,
yeah. Sky Blue is really young.
Yeah,
Billy Starks is 19. I mean,
yeah.
That's insane.
That's what I mean. It's
Yeah,
awesome
it-
though. That's something
awesome,
I
yeah.
love. I love
totally
about
awesome.
AEW. I mean, you have people from 19 to what 60. Sting was 63.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but they're all killing it. Like the at least the age range. It doesn't matter what age you are. You have a chance to kill it, and they
Yeah.
are. They're taking advantage of that.
Now, I just thought of this, and
Yes.
it made me very excited, so I have to talk about it. I was thinking Kyle Fletcher's so good, he needs to win a title. And then I was like, oh, what title? And then I was like, oh, Takeshita has a title.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they're in that same group. Are they going to have a falling out and have like a series of incredible matches? Because I would love that. Takeshita
They
rules.
should.
That's the last thing I wrote in my notes, by
Did
the
you-
way, was Takeshita rules.
He
Did
does.
you see? Did you see him? It just came out earlier today, but he was karaokeing "Take on Me."
Nice.
It was freaking adorable. It was amazing. He's not too bad, and he's Japanese and hitting. I mean, he was singing it pretty well. Like
nice.
he's
He's in
awesome.
Japan having 2 matches this weekend for
Yeah.
Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. He's awesome too. They have so
I-
many people. Like they have so many people.
Oh yeah, they went balls to the wall for that.
And
But
what's-
Apparently-
C2 was incredible.
yes. Well, I
apparently-
was gonna. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was going to talk about Stardom last night. Athena and Nina.
Oh, Ty Mello
Miller-
came back, right?
Yeah, Ty came back.
Ty Mello,
Nice.
yeah. Apparently, she looked great in the match too. They're like,
Yeah.
she's been gone for 22 months. She looks great. So
Yeah, I watched the match. It was really. She did really well.
Awesome.
Um.
I like her a lot.
she got
absolutely.
you when they're like, oh, Ty and Sammy are together. Ooh, let's focus on that. That was gross, and it
Yeah,
ruined
and
her
that
momentum.
kind of killed her because she was getting over.
Oh, she was, man, she was like doing bomb, and then let's
That
be
killed
cute
her,
and
yeah.
Oh God, it was because everyone hated Sammy, and it was so over the top. Oh, I don't know. Some of that is like weird boy booking that like
Yeah,
they didn't get
it
over
was
their
weird.
teenage years, and
We'll
yeah,
talk about the women's division later, but they needs some help, not in a wrestling standpoint, because the wrestling standpoint's awesome. It just needs some help in every other
yeah.
standpoint. But yeah,
Yeah.
C2, incredible.
That's
Okada
right.
versus Ospreay, incredible. And Kenny Omega's back, which I
That-
don't even have words.
I
That was awesome. It was such
I
a
didn't
good
expect.
way.
I knew he was going to come back soon, but I did not expect him to show up and stare down
Really?
Okada. That
Can
was cool.
can I make a weird thing I noticed, which it doesn't matter in the realm, but I noticed just because I know he's been through goddamn hell. He's lost a lot of hair. His hairline
I
hairline
did
is
not.
very
I didn't even
different.
notice that, but okay.
I didn't notice.
Well, I did. Like his
Oh, yeah.
hairline.
I've got to look now.
His hairline from like his last few matches to now has like that boy has been through some shit, and his hair is showing the story.
I was thinking one of the things I wrote down is obviously they're doing this at All In because their stare down was with the All In
Yeah.
banner behind them. That's what they're going to do, and that makes sense. It's a huge match. That's a huge show. It makes perfect. But I was thinking, how are they going to delay this till All In? Because All In is like in the summer, right? How are they going to? But I guess
Yeah.
maybe he just won't be around all the time.
Well,
he'll-
it just. I mean, the man had part of his guts taken out.
True.
He almost died. Yeah.
like Kenny Omega's story, like what he went through is like I could not imagine. I don't even do anything. I couldn't imagine being a functional person, let alone going back to goddamn wrestling and being at the top of the game. And you know he will be. That's the thing.
And that's the story they need to do. How he's been through everything and he's crawled his way back. And then Okada, his like biggest rival, is just like, I don't care. I don't care what you've been through. I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you anyway. Like that's what they need to do.
Exactly.
So I want to say two things.
Yeah.
One thing, when this tournament started, I predicted it would be Ospreay versus Okada, and Okada was going to win. Just
good.
So you know.
Pat yourself on the back, boo.
And the other thing is, I saw people online talking about it. Omega versus Okada is a huge match, a massive match. Two things: will it main event All In because it's a massive match? And if it does it need a belt, or can it just be like a special attraction match?
I will start with your second. I think it doesn't need a belt.
I agree.
No, it doesn't need a belt. It's when you have matches. I don't think there are belts for some of the best matches I've seen in the last few years. Like what?
Yeah, I agree.
Ospreay and Omega at Forbidden Door. Was there a belt there?
That was the New Japan something US title.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, that tells you how much a belt actually matters if it's worth the actual match is worth it. It doesn't work for much, but that's the kind of match it does.
Now, before you answer the other one, I'm going to cut in with something I just thought of.
Yes.
I mentioned this during our prediction show. Should the Continental Classic belt, should it just be for winning the C2?
Yes.
I kind of think it should, because like someone could change Okada tomorrow and just beat him and win it, and then what's the point of this whole tournament? You know what I mean?
That gets you automatically into the tournament as the holder. Like you don't have to qualify. Like they're going to make you qualify starting next year.
I think it should be like the Owen belts where you win it and it's prestigious on its own, but you don't have to defend it.
True. I
It's
agree.
It's a trophy.
Yeah.
Well, I see. I think there's going to be qualifiers. I bet you that's how it's going to turn into the G2.
I mean, you could still make it like you win a
G1.
trophy, but it also does deal with your rankings for whatever. But I don't think you need to make everything a belt.
And I mean, like most other, if you're talking about sports, like when you win the Stanley Cup or the NBA title or the Super Bowl, you don't defend that regularly. You just win it,
right?
And you just have it.
Defending champion the whole next year,
right? But you don't like if the Steelers won the Super Bowl. In game one of the next season, you don't lose it to whoever's playing. Right?
A very valid criticism of AEW / ROH is there's so many belts. That's the first time my boo watched wrestling with me, which he does not like wrestling. He hasn't watched it since like the early 90s when he was a little kid. Like he's like, I don't care for it. But he still watches it with me because that's the kind of guy he is. Anyway, but he's like, why does everybody that comes out have a belt?
Yeah, there's too many belts for sure.
Yeah, he's
I think they should just make it for that's what you get for winning the tournament, and it can allow you to qualify for the next one too. Like that's fine.
Right, that's fine.
But we don't need to have them defending it regularly. Like you can carry it around even if you want, but I don't think you should. I think it should be like the Owen belt, where you just win it and maybe have a nameplate on the side. That would be cool. Like I think one of the New Japan titles does that. Put all the previous winners, like the Stanley Cup, put their names on the belt, so that you hold this title that was held by Okada and whoever else. Like it would be a thing. That would be cool. But anyway, should it main event? All in.
We'll see where Kenny is. It depends on Kenny.
I don't know. They might do it in Japan again.
No, it's going to be All In, because when they had the stare down, they had the All In background behind them.
True.
And then this week they did the promo video for the recap video of what happened. And as they ended that, they cut to the All In banner again. It's going to be All In. That's where it's going to be.
Well, and that gives Kenny plenty of time to hopefully get up to speed. Well, that's
I think it should be an event
for that guy,
especially if the plan is to have like Mox hold the AEW title till All In and lose it to Darby, which I've heard is the plan. I think that's a terrible plan, but if that's the plan, I think Kenny Omega and Okada is a bigger match than that. And I'm sorry if it's Darby's first title win, whatever, like that's a big deal too. But I think Omega Okada is a bigger match than that, especially if it's Omega's first match back in AEW.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's just the history and everything. That's way bigger. And I agree with you.
Are they going to explain the history on the show?
I hope so.
Don't need to.
Yeah. No, Blasco. I say this with all the love and respect in my heart, baby, but you are way deeper than any of us in wrestling. I know. And the majority of Americans who are tuning in for this stuff does not know the history. They don't.
The internet exists.
Yes.
No, I do think that the majority of the current AEW audience knows, but the current AEW audience is very small, to be fair. Like it's very small. And
the whole reason they got on Max was to expand. And so
I think you have to do a 2 to 3 minute video on it.
Yes, you sickos are going to have to put up with some of, like, if they want to build it up properly and make it as awesome for us, like, not Blasco, you're on a whole other planet. Rick, you're on a different planet too. But for me, like, knowing it, like, I again,
company doesn't need to do that. They're making $2.3 million a month.
$3.2 million. We're talking about becoming more popular.
But they don't need to.
You're talking about getting into the, like,
Then why are they on Max if they don't want people watching the show?
So
like more people.
I'm saying they don't need to.
They don't need to. No, of course not. But
that's my
point.
I
don't want to. We've done this already. I don't want to do it again.
Yeah. Agreed.
Anyway, they're trying to grow their audience, and to grow the audience and to get people who don't know excited about Okada and Kenny, you got to build up the background for people who don't
I think
know.
a 2 or 3 minute video with some highlights. That's I'm not saying they have to spend an hour on it. Spend 2 minutes and scrap a Mox promo. And do that instead.
It's not hard to do. Like, I could plan that out.
I'd rather have people Google.
No, people aren't going to Google. People are lazy.
People are super lazy. They just won't. Like, they just won't.
Well, then, if you're not going to do the work, you don't need to be here.
Oh, no.
Okay.
And
it's a wrestling show. This is not my job. It's a wrestling show.
I'm kidding.
Oh, my God.
Jesus Christ. I'm kidding. Relax. No, if they release a 2-minute video, I would not care. But put it on YouTube. Don't waste 2 minutes of my day on the show.
But love, I love you, but you're not the main. Like, they're trying to expand, and if they successfully start to expand, you are not their main focus anymore.
And that goes Ring of Honor.
And if you're a huge fan of Okada and Omega, which you obviously are, so am I.
100%.
Don't you want them to have 2 minutes?
Right.
On television?
Don't you want way more people to know how awesome this is and to learn about it so that they can be as invested as you are, or at least close?
I'm not saying
my real answer.
No, you don't. You don't.
No, I don't.
You don't, because you want it to be cool and exclusive, because you want to be a hipster about this.
No, it's just the way I like things. I don't.
But
not about being a hipster. It's about just.
It's not about being a hipster.
Being popular things.
You don't like to share what you love.
That's 1000%. That's why I like those things, because no one else does. As soon as anyone else starts to, I go somewhere else.
When 80,000 people watched All In, or when Punk showed up and 2 million people watched Rampage or whatever it was, Why didn't you stop watching then?
I don't care about those things.
If you don't want it to be popular. But like 80,000 people is not a cool indie band. It's 80,000 people.
I listen to goddamn Mariah Carey. Like, I don't care about like it's just things that I like.
When it's something you like so much, you have a podcast about. For
Correct.
example, you get possessive when it starts to get a little more popular.
Oh, 100%. But then
Yes.
that just gives me reason to dig deeper. That's my outlook on everything. And if AEW starts to get popular, I'll start watching Ring of Honor. Or if that starts to get popular, I'll start. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Like, there's always something else.
Yes, but it's okay if something you like gets popular. It's because
not
so
in
many
my
other.
head.
Well,
that
that's
it becomes
not fair.
trend, and you don't even want me to go down that road of me and trendy things. It's a sickness. Don't argue with me. It's a sickness. Trust me.
I'm just saying it's
an unfortunate lifestyle that I have to live because it would bother me. I hate it. It sucks. I've been like this since I've been a child. Like, the second anything, like, I remember wanting a Sega because too many people had Nintendo.
You know what? Honestly,
but 80,000 people watched All In.
It's
not niche if 80,000 people are going to buy tickets for it.
How many people went to freaking Wembley 2 years in a row? Bought tickets and went physically. That's a thing.
Yeah, that's a real thing. I understand all that.
That's terrifying to me. I don't want to do anything.
It was based on some metrics, the most attended wrestling show in history.
That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that.
But isn't that popular then?
Yeah, but you don't need to hold my hand. Like, that's what I'm saying.
But a 2-minute promo video is not. They had a 2-minute promo video this week telling you what happened on the pay-per-view.
Okay, then you don't need to show me anything else. Then that's it. Like, that's all. That's literally all I'm saying. Put it on YouTube. Don't take 2 minutes out of the show.
You want the best of the best in the little time of TV they have. You want everyone else to have to go look it up and look it on YouTube, which
100%.
If you want someone to Google Kenny Omega and Okada and find out all their history, right?
Correct. Takes 2 seconds.
But if they don't know that there's a history,
right?
Why would they Google it? If you've never seen,
because you're going to find out about it the second you Google who Kenny Omega is.
But if you say you've only watched AEW, assume you've only this is a person who's only watched AEW, right? You know who Kenny Omega is in the concept of AEW. Correct. You know who Okada is in the concept of AEW only. You know that they wrestled elsewhere, but you'd have no idea what they did there.
Okay.
Why would you Google what's the history between Kenny Omega and Okada if you don't know that there is one?
Because you would Google one of their names and find out that, they looked up.
Why would you?
Because you were curious.
But why would you be curious if they didn't tell you should be curious?
Because it's a natural human.
No, it's not.
To be curious?
To look up the history of a wrestler when they haven't told you that there's any reason to look up the history of that wrestler. Why would you do it?
Because you're curious.
But you just you just
on AEW,
you just watch it.
Blasco, the majority of people need the TV to tell you. All right, you're missing that point. Also,
people that dumb.
Let's role play for a second. Let's imagine you have 2 kids. They're about 2 years.
I'm already out, but go ahead.
I do not have kids.
Yeah, same here. I don't want kids.
Imagine. All right, you have 2 kids. You're working your ass off at some blue collar job. Your wife's working her ass off in some shitty office job.
Okay,
that's hard.
You got to deal with the kids. Which kids take up so much time.
Okay.
And you're like, all right, look. Oh, hey, boo. We both really liked watching WWF when Steve Austin and Rock and Mankind were around, right? Yeah, that was so much fun. Yeah. Oh, I just saw on Max there's a new wrestling show that seems to be a big deal, and I've looked up a little bit about it, but it seems cool. Let's watch it. All right. Okay. You think we can do that with these kids? Like, yeah. It's nice because, like, if it starts at 8, but if we can get these kids in bed by 8, cool. If not, till 9, cool. We can start it when it is. Dope. All right, let's do it. And they start watching or they start watching AEW. But when they see all like, they can do some research. They can be like, all right, what's the story in AEW? They're not going into why is Okada like, why is Okada and why did
That's not what I'm
Okada?
saying.
No,
That
but
you're
it's
missing my point. My
Okay.
point is just like, if you were curious, like, oh, who is that? You Google their name, their Wikipedia comes up, and then you just link from there. Like, oh, there's Kenny Omega. Oh, there's this. You'd find everything out in 2 seconds.
Okada showed up 6 months ago.
Okay.
He's clearly friends with the Elite, and he's the Continental Classic champion. You don't need to look him up. You know that much.
in the
That's all you need to know.
But I'm
But
just
don't you
saying,
think that there's value in telling people, hey, there might be some more. We're going to tell you a little bit about it, and then you can do the rest of the research yourself.
right? You don't have to go super in depth, but you need to cover it at least.
I guess that's just when I'll check out. I don't know. That's just me as a person.
So then why do we have announcers if there's no need for them to tell you anything?
I agree. I mean, there could be no sound. You shouldn't have to have sound for a wrestling show. Like, they should be able to tell the story in the ring, but I mean, to each his own. I could watch it without sound. I don't need it.
Blasco, you have to realize you're like a goddamn. You're the
100%. I told you
said
20 minutes ago when you started arguing with me about this.
We're not arguing. We're just. But you have to.
I know I'm the anomaly.
You are.
My brain will never realize it. I'm sorry. Like,
no, it's okay.
Just me as a person.
No,
that's just the way that I work.
And I hope. Yes, you're very different, but for the majority of people, and that's the point of getting this huge media contract, they're trying to grow their audience. And to grow their audience, they have to do it that way.
More power to them.
But
it's just not for me. If they keep doing it, that's when I tune out. That's just me as a person.
I was at the show when Mercedes Moné showed up at the Boston show, and then the next week she was in Toronto. She came out and she said, hey, if you haven't seen me before, this is what I do. And they showed like a 1-minute video of her in Japan.
Right.
Isn't that's what they're supposed to be doing?
Right.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know.
We all right. What else was on the outline? We're not going to agree about this.
I'm not disagreeing to like be an ass. Like, I want you to know that like, it's just me as a person.
Can we talk about something else?
Absolutely.
What's next? What else do we have to talk about?
Mercedes and Stat at World's End. They blew the roof off the place.
Apparently Mercedes was sick too.
Like, under the weather sick?
Yes.
I was not aware. It didn't show.
She writes the absolute weirdest newsletter, which is like, I'm assuming it's in character because the way she writes it is super annoying and I hate it. And I think that's on purpose. I'm hoping that's on purpose because it's terrible otherwise.
She has a newsletter?
Yeah, she has a newsletter.
I didn't see it on there. I think I don't know.
I saw it on Reddit.
Yeah, I think I saw it.
But she has a newsletter it sounds awful, so I'm hoping it's in character. Apparently she was sick. I don't know how sick she was. She's a wrestler, right? So she was like, they were feeding me IV fluids backstage. Like, we don't know if that's actually true. Maybe that's just her thing. It's wrestling. But that's what she said.
Exactly. Anyway, she still put on a goddamn banger.
Yeah. Now, my question, everyone complains that Stat lost, and myself included. Is Stat at the point, does she need the I almost said the Mercedes title. Wow, that was bad. The TBS title.
I thought that, and then I read someone talking on Reddit about her story. And like just their interpretation of her story. And her story was she lost the TBS title. That drove her nuts. She turned heel, joined with Stokely, turned on her best friend, beat her best friend. That didn't make her happy. And then she's like, oh, maybe what I need is the TBS title again. And then lost twice. And that's more interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I was, in my opinion, I don't think she needs, at least
I thought she won, but looking at the story that way, I think it's better.
I feel like
in hindsight.
I feel they need to get through this whatever this is, so she she needs to be the women's title holder. Like,
Yeah.
she's the most dominant, like,
One thing I
women's wrestler.
want to say before we get past it, the 9 count when she was outside the ring and she slid in right at 10, greatest slide in at 10 I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because I as soon as she dove in, I was like, she's gonna miss the ring, isn't she? Like, I was like, she's cutting this way too close.
Man.
It was the greatest because the camera angle was on Mercedes inside the ring and she just popped up.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was so good because usually that looks so stupid because the person is dead on their feet and then at 9 they spring up and they jump in the ring. It looks stupid. Nope. But you didn't see that. You just saw her like struggling on the outside, and then right at 10, right before 10, she slid in. Was the best anyone's ever done that.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That's live production TV work, guys. They're getting better.
And Mercedes, like her over the top faces, her like WWE face, where
her
she's like
screaming.
Oh, I'm so shocked, but she's getting better at it.
When she like screeches though, like she's no, I haven't been impressed by her. Well, that's missing part of this podcast is a gigantic fan of her. I didn't know about her because again, I didn't watch wrestling.
You could have Googled it, Biddy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Took
2 seconds.
Coulda.
They shouldn't have told you that she ever wrestled before.
I agree.
She should have just popped on the screen and won the TBS title, and you should have been like, all right, I guess I have to do hours of research.
Well, it took me a while to remember what her WWE name was. I'd be like, that girl, fuck. Anyway, but so I did not know anything about her before she came to AEW, and she's not great on the mic, but she is freaking sick in the ring, and that's...
Yeah, she needs a storyline, a long storyline.
That's where it matters, but
her wrestling is incredible. It's great.
I get the hype.
She's doing a great job.
I get the hype, and she's definitely trying to work on her mic. She should probably actually go meet up with MJF and talk to him.
I thought she should have joined the Elite, and I still think she should join the Hurt Syndicate because I think they could talk, they could all talk for her.
Oh,
she's fine at it, but she's not great.
She's not great.
MVP give her a card?
Yeah, but they kind of forgot about that. They forgot about that. They haven't mentioned it in a while.
I did. Oh, yeah. Now I want her to join the Hurt Syndicate. That's badass.
I think she needs some kind of story because her wrestling is awesome. Like, she's great at it. She's an incredible wrestler. But she needs a story.
I think the story is going to start at, is it Dynasty, the women's, or was that the one that was last night?
No, that's on Sunday.
Okay.
I think Mina Shirakawa for her New Japan title.
Okay, it's going to start there. She's going to beat Mina, obviously, and then she's going to hold
another belt, so she's going to win a third belt.
Yeah, she's going to win that belt.
Which again, they told us on TV, so I didn't have to look it up. But can't remember.
Perfect. Now I lost my train of thought. Here we are. I think Athena dethrones Mercedes for the TBS title. They're gonna that's my call. She's been champion for going over 2 years. That'll get her on AEW TV, and then Billy Starks will dethrone Athena. But that's my call.
It has been strange. They haven't put Athena on. I mean, now she's gone to Stardom. But
she's been
carrying
Ring of Honor.
Yeah, from what you've said, she's basically been carrying Ring of Honor. Like,
oh yeah, she's the women's world title in Ring of Honor has main evented 2 pay-per-views now, during her reign, and
it should have been the last match, the last one too.
I agree. It definitely should have been. And there was something else that she did. Oh, she passed Samoa Joe for the longest reigning any champion in Ring of Honor history. Which I was kind of
that because they told you that on TV. You know that because they told you that on TV. Did you look it up yourself?
I actually am so much of a nerd that I knew the date that she was going to beat Joe's record. So,
but did they say it on the TV?
Yes, they did. Ian Riccoboni did.
As they should.
Didn't that make it a little bit better because now everyone knows?
I mean, I guess. If you want my, do you want my honest opinion? I thought it was dumb because they waited a day too long. Exactly. If you're going to do it, do it right.
But the show wasn't on that day. Then, right? It was.
You have the internet exists. There's no time. Like we don't live in that time anymore.
Didn't you earlier in this podcast when we were talking about the Mox promo that you said explained a lot of things? You were like, I wish they would have put it on TV instead of YouTube. But why is that allowed? You could have looked it up.
So then, exactly, you could have, and I had to.
Then why did you say it should have been on TV?
Because then we could have known what the storyline was about.
But you looked it up, so they didn't need to put it on TV.
Exactly. I was sufficed.
So then why did you say it should have been on TV?
For people to know. That's all.
And there we are, folks. For people to know, because they're watching on TV, because they don't have time to Google everything like you do.
I just want to say I love that the couple days after the pay-per-view, all the pro WWE accounts were just like, look, they ruined Ricochet. Swerve is just humiliated on TV. I'm like, wait literally 3 days.
Yeah.
And there'll be a story attached to this. And there was, and it was great. And yeah. Anyway.
When they threw the toilet paper at him, that was impeccable New York audience. And
I loved it because it was dumb. Like, it was obviously dumb. And it was not, Swerve is a serious guy. Swerve is, breaking into people's houses, and Swerve is breaking cinder blocks on people's bodies. And like, he's a tough, serious guy. And I love that he thought so little of Ricochet that he was just like, I'm not even going to do anything mean to you. I'm just going to throw the toilet paper because you're a loser.
Yes, I see that as well. But to be fair, it's also nice to just see something nice like, oh, just toilet paper. Nobody's burning houses down. And,
but I think it made it. I think that was. I think that was the point of it. Was just like, oh, he doesn't even see him as important enough to like try to hurt him. He's just gonna embarrass him.
Oh, it was awesome. I loved it.
Well, now Ricochet's a very flippy, bald, angry man. And I love to see it.
And now he has a storyline. I don't think he ever really had a storyline before. So
that's true.
Yeah,
I didn't watch WWE when he was in it, really. But I don't think he really ever had a story other than like he does cool flips. So the fact that he does is really cool, and he looks awesome.
I didn't know anything about him, and the first couple matches, I was like, man, this guy's perfect for AEW. And then I learned he was getting a lot of crap from whatever. But now, oh yeah, guys, it takes time. Well, that's the thing. Man, AEW can build stories. And that was such a not fair criticism of AEW. You can't build stories. Like, there are stories, but and I feel like
I think the problem AEW had, people said you couldn't build stories, is they did have a problem with making stories that you cared about up until recently. Like the last year, they've been doing a great job, which is why I think that the constant calls of like, restore the feeling, feeling is restored. Shut up. The shows are good. Shut up. But like the criticism they got was they told a bunch of stories that like you really didn't care that much about.
Right.
From like the 2022-23 period, a lot of their stories were just kind of messy and you didn't care. So that the criticism should never have been they don't tell stories. It should have been they don't tell stories I care about. And
they don't properly
are.
Tell stories.
But now they are.
Oh goodness, are they? They're
doing a good job.
Next level.
That's why I really hate all this. We have to save any storyline. That is, we have to save AEW or fix AEW. AEW has been fixed since the last C2 in 2023. Yeah. They don't need to fix it. It's doing great. Like, it's a perception war at this point. It's a PR war.
Well, I wonder
that WWE is doing well. It's a PR perception thing. It's not an on-screen.
I wonder if they're almost using that dipping into the like all the critic. That's a thing. AEW seems to be a bit like too much like listening to the critics, and
they care too much about the critics easily.
Right.
Yes, definitely.
And so they're like, I mean, there's always all these people who are like, oh yeah, if I just did my own story, and
there's so many dummies on the internet who complain about stuff, but they listen to it and they shouldn't.
Right.
because
But
they've been doing a good job.
The people that fall for the internet stuff is the best. Like, especially like the people that just believe anything that like Meltzer says. I just love it's the greatest.
just
But,
watch
like,
it.
AEW's problem right now is not anything they're doing on TV. The Mox thing is kind of dull, fine, but
Agreed.
it's not terrible. It's just kind of dull. Their problem isn't anything that's happening on TV. It isn't anything to do with their stories or the wrestling or any. It's not. It's a perception. It's WWE has a massive PR team. They have a massive perception. They're a huge company, and they've spent since Triple H took over. He has AEW beat him when he ran NXT and made him look stupid, and he's gone out of his way now to belittle them. To bring, when they brought in Cody and they brought in Punk and they brought in Jade, they made a point to say, "Oh, we're the big leagues. That's why they came here, because we're the big." Like, it's a perception battle at this point. It is not a on-screen. There's nothing wrong with the product that AEW is putting on at this point. It's good. It's good.
Absolutely.
I wanted to talk about this over Christmas. I watched Saturday night's main event because I was like, "Oh, there's all this hype about WWE. I'm gonna watch it. It's on regular. It was on YouTube. I'll watch it. Sure." It was fine. Like, it was fine. It was okay. But like, the wrestling was They didn't tell any stories. I know it was a TV special, so whatever. It's not their weekly programming. But like, it was fine, and it did not compel me to watch it again. Like, and then I watched after that Collision, and Collision. I don't even.
Collision was so good.
I don't even watch Collision, but I was like, WWE was it was fine. I'm gonna watch Collision. It was instantly so much better. Like, honestly, it was. It was so much better. It's a perception problem. It's not a on-screen.
Yes,
AEW is just not seen as cool or trendy or hip right now. It's not.
And
It's
that's
not what
why
they're
it's
doing.
awesome.
It's not what they're doing. That's the problem. When Danielson and Punk and Adam Cole showed up, it was the cool place, and WWE has chipped away at that with their constantly talking about how they're the hottest show. Oh, if you watch Saturday Night's main event, they talked about every 5 minutes how it's the hottest wrestling company in the
But
world, like not
have we-
nonstop.
It's
works. It does
advertising.
work.
It's advertising. It works. Obviously,
works.
people
It
wouldn't
works.
spend this much and go. People wouldn't spend the money and time if it didn't work.
Elimination Chamber is
works.
coming here to the Rogers Center Skydome. It holds 50,000 people. The upper deck, where you can't see anything because you're in the top deck of a baseball stadium,
That's nuts.
is $300.
Ooh.
That's absurd.
Yeah,
And
But people will buy it because
100%.
they've marketed that absolute hell out of it.
You can take your dumb little kids there, and they're just happy to be there. And
WWE has their PR and their marketing are incredible, leaps and bounds over not just wrestling companies, most companies. They do an incredible job.
Well, since we don't have anything else, we are at Elite City Pod on any social media. We have them all, but some we use more than others. So if we will get back to you in some time, but like I said, some we check daily, some not so daily. So,
and we never check the bad one.
And we never check the bad one. Yeah. If you hit us up on Blue Sky or Instagram or like those ones, we'll hit you back sooner rather than later.
If you really care that much, you'll figure it out real fast.
Exactly.
You can Google it. We don't even need to tell you that we're on the social networks. You
Yes,
just looked it up.
Google.
100%. If you
Google.
found us, just use the
just looked it
Google
up.
machine. 100,000.
Wasting
See,
all of our
that's
time.
Oh God, stop.
exactly.
All right.
No, he's correct. That's
Okay.
the way my brain thinks. But yeah, at Elite City Pod on all social media. We are here. If you're new and we weren't here a couple weeks, we're a weekly show. So we're back from the holidays. And
Also, to be fair, I can't believe if this was the first one you heard and you kept listening. Bless you.
I think this is a good one. I think we did a good job this time.
I mean, the
fantastic.
discussion. Again, this discussion is for sickos.
That was a good one.
100%. Yeah.
The ever dwindling AEW audience will appreciate it. And that's not a shot at AEW. They're doing a great job, but the audience is dwindling. Anyway.
Oh no, I farted. All right.
Hey.
Go on, boy. Finish this up.
So until next week, that is all. Later.